So to begin with, let us look at what Yellow Coders Club is, and then what we do over here. Now, first of all, we are a club that has a focus of equipping as many individuals as possible with the skill of coding. Secondly, provide guidance-based tutorials in Python and JavaScript, as well as HTML and CSS. We also provide tutorials in graphic design as well. Now, what should you be expecting today at this particular opening ceremony? Now, you should be expecting to have all your questions answered, and then you get to meet your tutors and learn what each track entails. You also get to know the technologies that will be used to facilitate effective teaching and learning in each track. I'm sure some of you might be wondering, how is this going to be like since it's going to be online? Is it going to be stressful? I mean, connection, internet issues, and all of that. We have the tools and technologies that we will use to actually facilitate a smooth and effective teaching and learning. Moving on. Before we dive into the details of the bootcamp, we want to let you know why you should actually learn how to code. I mean, this is very important, so we cannot skip this part. Now, first of all, some years ago, employers had no interest in recruiting people who were computer literate. The reason is because most of the work or the jobs in those periods were manual. So nobody really needs a computer literate or somebody who knew computers to hire to do their jobs. In fact, there were less computers at the time. Now here at the Yellow Coders Club, we believe that very soon, coding will be a required soft skill, even on your CV, that employers may be looking out for. And hence, we have availed ourselves to help as many people as ready to acquire this skill. We also help in learning how to code. You get to enrich your CV and then your qualifications. You can gain employment with a renowned company. You can even make a living out of it as a freelancer, or maybe you have a startup. You want to go into web development, or you want to build programs or software. Learning how to code is the first step to go. And then there's a lot more that we'll be sharing with you guys today. So what are some of the benefits of knowing how to code? So knowing how to code, the benefits of knowing how to code comes in two parts. The first one is you get to work in a company with a team. And the second one is you get to be a freelancer, or you can even begin a startup by yourself. Now, in working in a company with a team, you learn from senior developers and you build upon your skills. You also have access to compensations, including paid leaves and health insurance. And then you get to make new friends when you are working in a company. If you're a startup or a freelancer, you get control over your schedule. You have the freedom to work from anywhere you want, and you enjoy your money alone too. You also have the freedom to choose any project of your choice, because you're not really under anybody's rule or instruction. You're a freelancer. So now let us look at what each track of the bootcamp entails. And at this point, I'm going to hand over to the tutors. I'm sure they are here with us, so that they can share with us what each track entails. So we'll take it track by track. First of all, let us look at the first track, which is the web development track with Akosia and Matthias. So I'll hand over to Akosia to tell us a bit about web development, and then what the students or participants of this track should expect when it comes to web development. And then afterwards, we follow up with Matthias to also share with us what the second part of the web development track entails. And the reason is because this track is actually divided into two parts, and I'm sure they will throw more light on it. So now to you, Akosia. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Solomon. Hello, everybody. So I'll be taking you guys through the web development and the theory part, and then basically web websites, and then how to maintain those websites. Okay, so in the coming weeks, we are going to their design, styling, and how to make them responsive and accessible by all kinds of people. Basically, everything front-end development. Okay. all going to have fun in them. We're going to create a lot of projects that will fast track. Well, as Solomon might, if you have chosen to study this course, then you're on the right track. And so all I would say before we begin, should all stay focused, work hard, and then gear up for the task ahead. And basically, I'm going to take the theory aspect, so I'll hand it over to Matthias to talk about the practical, intensive practical aspect.
Okay, thank you, Akosia. Web development, as my colleague said, Akosia said, it's all about how to utilize scripts to create applications on the web so that you can access it via the internet, so and a browser. So my colleague is going to take the theory, which is Akosia is going to take the practical part. So firstly, she will take you through certain tags and HTML tags for you to appreciate it, and the JavaScript and all that, and use the next couple of weeks to make the science behind it and how information from the browser by hitting certain URLs, by hitting certain endpoints, and several details. There are lots of things to be learned actually. So yeah, that's pretty much all about web development that I can talk about. So get yourself ready. And as my colleague said, once again, web development, there are lots of people who are looking for, lots of companies and lots of institutions that are looking for web developers to help them with their business ideas, with their business concepts and all that. So if you are willing to learn and you are willing to understand and move on with it, then I think this is a great opportunity for you to grasp a lot of intelligence and knowledge as well. So all the best.
Very much, Matthias and Akos. So this particular track is divided into two parts. We have the part where you learn the theory, which will take 2 weeks. Then we have the other part where you actually build your portfolio website to take another 2 weeks. So that's how come there are two different tutors for this particular track. So moving on from web development, we turn our attention to Python programming. And I happen to be a tutor for Python programming. And I must say that Python is a language of many traits, like a jack of all trades. It can do a lot of things. You can use Python in artificial intelligence, you can use it in web development, you can use it in creating desktop applications, and a host of other things that you can use Python for. And that's the more reason why I actually love Python, because of its flexibility and its multiple application areas. But in this particular track, we are not going to teach you Python in web development or Python in machine learning, AI, or desktop development, or what have you. We are actually going to give you the concrete foundation that you need so that you can apply this particular programming language in any of those sectors that you deem fit or that you wish to enter into. And so we are going to talk about the basics of Python programming. We're going to talk about file handling. We're going to talk about data structures in Python programming. And to cap it all, we can't just leave you empty-handed with just knowledge. We are going to build a voice assistant with Python using Google's APIs. So we are going to build a voice assistant that can recognize you when you talk. So assuming you want to make notes in class and you don't want to write, you can actually speak it, and then it will be written onto a file. So you just have to make a few edits and it suits you, and you are good to go. So that's what the Python programming track entails. At this juncture, we'd love to move on to JavaScript programming, and that will be with Matthias. JavaScript programming with Matthias. So I'll hand over to Matthias to give us a bit of insight into the JavaScript programming track.
Okay, I'm back again, guys. JavaScript as he explained, with Python is also a programming language that is very good. That helps in a lot of things. Lately, JavaScript is applicable in mobile development, web development, and a whole bunch of stuff actually. So I would urge each and everyone to join this track as well, because JavaScript helps in the events, whatever events that happens on the web is handled by JavaScript. Image and interactivity and responsiveness and everything is mostly handled with JavaScript. And it's a nice language, easy to understand, easy to maneuver your way through, and it's very interesting to learn. And as I said, I would urge each and every one of us to participate in this track. And also, we are going to learn about how to make but in this course, we're not going to focus much on mobile development and other stuff. We are going to do simple JavaScript language scripting. We won't make any particular projects, because we'll be using the JavaScript ideas and concepts in the web development practical section. So we won't actually create projects in the JavaScript class or track, as we are going to learn about the concepts and the syntax and semantics and way of using JavaScript here. And then with the projects, we are going to implement the concepts that we learn here in the web development projects. Please, I hope everyone understands what I'm trying to say. So that is how this thing is going to be.
Okay, thank you very much, Matthias, for the info. So we would like to move on to the next part of the program, which is actually the teaching and learning tools and their features. So the first one is TeamViewer, and then TeamViewer is a desktop application, an application that actually grants remote access to whoever is connected to your computer. So for instance, I can grant somebody access to my computer irrespective of the person's distance. Now in this case, what is going to be used for is that, assuming I'm a student and then I need help from my tutor, I can grant my tutor access to my machine. The tutor will look at what I am doing and then go through my code or go through my designs and help me implement certain features that I may not be finding on my machine. TeamViewer grants the tutor access to your machine, so in real time. So it's more or less like the person is with you, teaching you and telling you what to do. That's how the TeamViewer works. It also has a video and an audio feature, so you can see the person who is having a remote access to your machine, and you can talk to them as well. It also has a chat feature and a lot more to explore once you start using it. We also have the LiveShare feature in Visual Studio Code. Now, Visual Studio Code is actually the IDE, or the integrated development environment, that will be used for this particular for the coding exercises or for the coding tracks. Now, this particular IDE allows you to collaborate with others by writing code in the same IDE simultaneously. I mean, this feature. So the LiveShare feature allows you to collaborate with people. It can be your tutors, can be your colleagues, so that you can be writing code in the same IDE simultaneously. So can be writing at line 9, another person can be writing at line 10, and then a lot of people can be editing the code at the same time. So once again, assuming I'm a student and then I've been given an assignment, maybe it's HTML or CSS, and I happen to face a bug and I don't know how to solve it, that's an opportunity for my tutor to actually enter into my IDE, to join me in my IDE, so that the tutor can see where the problem lies and help me resolve them. That's the essence of using the LiveShare in Visual Studio Code. So at this juncture, we are actually supposed to come to the end of our session and then take questions from you all. But what we'll do is that we will demonstrate. We'll have a short demonstration of how the TeamViewer works, and another short demonstration of how the LiveShare feature in Visual Studio Code also works. But before we move on to that, if you have any question, please you may ask. to address a few questions at this particular part, somebody wanted to find out how they can learn very fast as a beginner, how fast they can learn as a beginner. So at the onset, the main goal of this coding bootcamp is to actually meet the needs of beginners at where they are, also meet the needs of intermediates, and bring all of them up to a particular standard that they can fare on their own. So if you're a beginner, the program or the activities are tailored to meet your needs. So irrespective of where you are or your knowledge base or whatever, we start from the basics, we pick up from there, move you to the intermediate level, and we help you build a final project or projects in between. The main goal is that we are coding to build. We are not just enriching you with knowledge. That's what we seek to avoid. Just pushing knowledge into the minds of people. People know the stuff. They know this tag does that, this element does that, this program or this programming language does this, but they've not really done anything in particular with it. And that's what we want to, that's the problem that I want to solve, to give you the opportunity to build programs or to build something out of what you know. And somebody also asked that they want to learn the thing, or they want to join the tracks, but they don't really need any certificate. How much would that also cost? Well, the certificate, the digital certificate that you receive has no price value attached to it. That's actually for free, so it does not really affect the price that you have to pay per track. Akosia, please, are you ready with your TeamViewer? Is it open so that I can open mine and then share my screen?
A minute. It will be open
Okay,
in a
sure.
minute.
Sure. So this is my screen, and then this is my ID, and then this is my password. Okay.
Yeah,
So
hello, sorry. I think I've connected to it.
okay, so Akusia is connected to my machine now. So Akusia is far away, and I'm here at another place. But then she's been able to connect to my machine. So what she's going to do is that she's going to try and then edit or access something on my machine. So I think I can share my presentation screen with you. Okay, so I think Akusia should be on my presentation screen by now. Moving the mouse.
Yes.
Yes, so she's going to try and then edit some of the content on that particular screen. So you can type something for us to see that you are here. You are actually in control of my machine.
Kobiri.
Yes.
No.
Okay, so
Is it a TeamViewer actually?
yes, this is the TeamViewer, please.
Okay, I think I'll have to install it now.
Okay, so Akusia is actually typing this on my machine. She has remote access to my machine. So that's what I was saying, that assuming you're a student and you encounter a challenge, or you encounter a challenge, this is another method or an approach that your tutors can use to get to you and help you out. Now, the graphic design tutor is here, so I think he will throw a bit more light on what we should expect at the graphic design track, or in the graphic design track. Right after that, just a minute or two, we'll move into Visual Studio LiveShare to do a few demonstrations over there too. So Joshua, can you share with us what should be expected in the graphic design track? Just something brief, a minute or two.
Okay, so basically in this track, we're looking at the very basic concept of designing, and then looking at how to use some design tools or applications such as Photoshop, right? And then we'll be taking on some projects as well. Okay, we'll be giving tasks to accomplish and things. So we'll come on a weekly basis. So by the close of every week, we may have something or a task we ought to accomplish. And so it's going to be quite objective. And then, but I'll give out the curriculum so we know exactly what we're doing weekly. Okay, but basically you learn about the concept of design and then how we can put these concepts to work. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much for the briefing. And to proceed, can we look at a demonstration of LiveShare in Visual Studio Code? So let me try and share that screen right now. Okay. So I'm in VS Code. Okay, so I believe you can see my screen, right? So you click on share. So when you click on share, starting collab. Okay, so invitation link to copy to clipboard. So all that I have to do is to go to WhatsApp or any other platform. So I'm on WhatsApp right now, and then I'll just share the link with Akosia to join my collaboration. So I've sent the link.
Can you do Telegram?
Okay, let me open Telegram. And then I'll share the link with Akosia. Okay, so link shared on Telegram. So she can join from either WhatsApp or Telegram, from anywhere or any part of the world. And then she'll be in my IDE. So we can be coding together alongside myself simultaneously in the IDE, or she can have access to my IDE, code from it remotely, or anyhow she wants to work with my IDE. She has access to it, full access. So let me just type that. This is sorry. So I'm sure Akosia is trying to join from her side.
Yeah.
Okay, so while you are waiting for her to join, we can look at the whiteboard feature. I can actually draw here. I can equally write or type. So that's it with the LiveShare. There's also an audio part. There's a session chat. So I can chat here. And then I can start an audio as well.
Yes, I think I'm in now.
Okay, so you can see my ID, right? You can see what I've typed.
Yes, I'm in now.
Okay, so Akos is in my ID now. So I think I'll give her the chance to type. So you can type something. Okay, so then come to the bottom of the file and type something. Okay, you can see this file.
Yeah, but I still don't have access
to that.
To editing the file, yeah.
Okay, then come to the bottom of the Python file. So we'll try editing the Python file rather. So just try typing something. Okay. So why don't you be typing while I also type at the same time? So I also typing alongside okay, so that's it. That's how the LiveShare feature in Visual Studio Code works. So with this, your tutors can get into your IDE with you, help you to debug your codes and come up with nice codes and nice programs. Thank you very much for your time and see you next time. Bye bye.